special meeting to order. Jim?
Yes, sir, Mayor. We're here today to talk about the road bond money. Currently, right now, if you'll flip over to page 8, we had previously been given the numbers back from the clerk's office that we have $982,594.68 for the city to come up with projects with. Okay. So what we've done is we've took all the projects, all the requests from the board and staff, and if you'll go to page 3, Mayor, we broke down all the different projects versus the budget amount that you have for this year. If you look at it, we're over budget about $240,000. So what we're going to have to do is we've got to pull something back out of there to stay within budget for this year for the project on there. Based on the items that we have on there, staff recommendation will be to pull out the Long Avenue portion for the water line, because we've already applied to SRF a couple months back for the sewer portion, for the lift station, the road, and the sewer. And our thinking is if we're going to tear the road up, why not do it all at one time? Why don't we go ahead and pull that off of there and then work on that when we hear back from SRF and work on it at that point in time. If you did that, that would leave all the other items that are listed on here from Reed Avenue, the bores, water, and materials, that would be in there. The paving on Reed Avenue from 1st to 71. The little section from 71 to 6th Street, Vauxhall Avenue from 3rd to Street to paving. Long Avenue, we'd still do some paving on Long Avenue. The portion inside of pavement for the utilities, it would be 18th Street to Madison Street, so you'd still get some of your paving in for Long Avenue, but we would still have to come back from 1st to 18th, replace a lift station, water, and sewer at some point. This would also include 8th Street paving to work on that problem we have at the ditch and the road itself. Avenue G, we could do just a little patch, or if you wanted to, with the money that we still have in here currently, it would stay under budget. If you wanted to do from MLK to the end of G Street on there, that we have that problem with the pavement at the end, we could fix that. And then include your maintenance of traffic, bonds and insurance costs. So that's what staff has put for you today to consider on there for how you want to spend your money on there, man.
And Jim, there was a question at one time raised about the mobilization money they took out, and I did question the county about that, and they told me it wasn't them, it's from Miss Rebecca Norris that does that, because she pays the bills.
Yes.
And that by doing that, when it comes time to mobilize, we'll already have it paid, is what I was told. But I questioned them why. They said, well, that's Miss Norris, you know.
Yes.
So I did question that though.
Good. Okay. So yes, I guess the first thing we've got to decide which projects you want to do, and then we'll step back to the steps we need to do to get it accomplished for you.
Now, you talking about the top item there, the $239,493.81?
Yes, sir, that would be the long portion. If you actually flip over, we actually received the bids in, so if you want to see the total cost that would be associated with Long Avenue water line, if you flip over to page 4 and page 5, Lanier gave you a quote or a bid of $320,000 for the materials, and you got one for the board. The low bid was Eric Spears at $129,740. The number that you see represented here is actually the long portion, because with SRF, you're anticipating getting 40% grant or 60% grant, 40% loan. So that would be the portion you would need to complete the project.
Yeah, I think we probably don't have any choice but to go ahead and axe that one. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I do too. I like what they've laid out, subtracting that keeps us within our bond money. The only thing I would like to see us do going forward is to keep Long Avenue as the #1 priority in the city for road paving and water and sewer. I think Jim's probably got some good ideas of how to get that funded, but I think we just got to do Long Avenue. That's all it is to it.
Now, if we take that item out, are we still depending on the downtown redevelopment for the money right now, or we don't have to depend on that?
This is the way it's laid out now, Mayor. You would sign a loan agreement with the PSJRA for the 197 portion of it, plus 9% of the engineer, so a little over $200,000. The thinking was to sign a 2-year loan agreement, so in 2 years, what it would come back is you get roughly $200,000 back, and then one suggestion would be to keep that money earmarked for your Long Avenue project. It's up to you. But that would have you $200,000, and we know right off the bat, we're looking at probably $240,000 in loan amount. That would cover $200,000 of that loan amount on the water side that you wouldn't have to borrow if you wanted to.
So even though we take out the 239, we still don't have enough money on our own to go ahead and do it, we'd have to borrow money to do it?
What this would be doing is the PSJRA is borrowing from you.
Okay.
What they're doing is, to understand is that y'all were looking at it through the PSJRA board, but they didn't have the funds to do it right now. So they would go ahead and get the project done, you would be paying for it, but they're gonna pay you back
Right.
over a 2-year period.
They're borrowing from us.
Okay.
I've got one other thing that we should probably consider too. With that 8th Street paving, there's been a lot of changes to the plans to the ballpark, and it looked like that area is going to be turned into parking. If we axed that $197,000 out as well at this time, it would give us another $200,000 to use on paving elsewhere in town. You know, these streets that are listed are the worst, but we have other problems as well. Just something that I want to throw out there, that if we can use the 5th penny to do 8th Street, if we're going to be changing the way that 8th Street's laid out, we might want to consider axing that as well and quickly coming up with another $200,000 worth of paving.
We're not closing 8th Street anymore.
No.
No,
Were we adding parking, Rex?
well, on each side of
The street,
8th.
yeah.
So,
He said repave it. He said-
Instead of
he
having,
said
you know,
repave it with
consent
a
for it. I've had some calls on it.
And I can tell you that 8th Street, it's gonna have to be demucked and everything. I mean, it's a major issue. I think we need to move forward with that.
My only complaint would be if we did it, let's not tear it up, put a parking lot over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't think that's the
I
case.
think we can actually do 8th Street with anticipation of what's coming
Right.
with the ballpark, and make sure we won't have to cut it up or whatever. Dave,
And if we
You
could-
don't anticipate any problem, do you, Clay, if we go ahead and repave 8th with what we're gonna do with the ballpark?
Not as soon as y'all nail down what you want to do at the ballpark. I don't think so. I mean, the latest layout, and I think most all the layouts, all the parking on 8th Street is off of the street.
It's on the other side.
You know what I mean? So-
I believe what I heard the last meeting when I presented the layout, you were out of town, I presented it, and from what I was hearing up there, everybody was pretty comfortable with it. And so we're going to hopefully move forward with that on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I have had a few phone calls since then, and I expect some of those people will be here. Because I had an email to one person that said it was totally unacceptable, because there was nothing in there about tourists, to attract tourism. So
Nothing in there about what?
Nothing to attract tourism.
We got pickleball.
But they said they did in the meeting, so I don't know. I'm just voicing what people told me.
Right, yeah, I understand. Yeah. Anyway.
You know, that said, with that concern out there, I support staff's decision to drop the Long Avenue, use that $200,000 from 8th Street that we'll be getting back from the PSJRA, and earmark that for Long Avenue, and I'd be willing to put that in the form of a motion.
All right, got a motion from Commissioner Ashbrook.
I'll second on
You got a second?
discussion too.
Commissioner Lawless for discussion.
I do want to agree with Commissioner Brissette on the Long Avenue project. That's kind of got what got us in this predicament as far as us spending the money right now. But I do want us to move forward on Long Avenue as we are with the SRF funds. So, that's my second.
All right. Have a first and a second, any more discussion?
I have just one question.
Yes.
Jim, this SRF loan, if this comes through, we're looking at the end of this year. Are they willing to let that float for 2 years before we get this money back from the PSJRA?
We don't have the rules of engagement back at this point in time. What we've got is, we got an application up there, and we're hoping to hear something back, probably gonna be the fall, isn't it, Clay, before we hear back on the sewer side?
Yeah, so you'll have two. You'll have the sewer side and the water
Water
side.
side, yeah.
So I don't know if you're asking. The sewer side, yes, you'll have plenty of time to get that done. The water side is the one
The water side is currently
That's what you're
open,
asking about.
and we had actually met with them probably about 2 months ago. They came down and met with staff, and we told them we were working in conjunction with the sewer side. It's two different, you have the sewer side and
Right.
the water side, and we sent them a letter telling that, so they're aware that we're trying to put it all together as one piece.
Okay.
And one thing I did want to mention too is we're not 100% sure how much the grant will be for it. It could be a 80-20 or a 90-10, or however So we just unsure.
That's exactly right. We're just having, we're at the application process.
All right, with the first and second, how everybody vote? Yea or nay? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0.
Mayor, you want to go over the checklist, that way we can make sure everybody knows what we got to do from here? Okay, so we decided on the first thing, if you go to page 2, the board just voted on what we want to do with the $982,000. Thank you for that. The next thing we did was, we did draft a letter for you if you want to. We have a letter that's on page 1. That way, if you want to, that way the county knows exactly what we're doing on the project on there. So that way you've got that, and they'll know how you want to spend your money. So that would be submitted to the county for there. What we'll do is we'll do that checklist with it too, that way everybody knows exactly what we're doing. The third item we need to do is we need to be able to allow our city attorney to draw up the loan agreement between the city and the PSJRA. To my understanding, I think that what we're looking at was the terms would be for 2 years. I don't think anybody was looking at an interest rate of, I think it was 0 interest. Is that what I'm understanding on that? Is anybody?
Yeah, I believe that's what we
Okay.
discussed. It was just a 2-year.
A straight loan for 2, okay, all right. So if we can get approval to have our attorney draft that up, we can sign that and we can take care of that portion on there.
Jim, do each of these items require a motion?
You've taken care of number 1. I would vote on the other ones to make sure that way everybody understands exactly what we're doing, if you like.
All right, a motion to submit the projects to the county commission for approval.
Second.
All right, well, Commissioner Ashbrook, second Commissioner Brazil. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
The third item would be to allow our city attorney to draw it up and for city staff and for the PSJRA to sign off on the loan agreement.
Motion for the city attorney to draw up the loan agreement.
Commissioner Ashbrook has made a motion, I need a second.
I said.
Second. You got the second? All right, Aaron Langston got the second, thank you, sir. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. And the next thing we got to do to make sure before we actually sign our contracts, our thinking is let's get all our ducks in a row before we sign the contracts with these vendors. The fourth thing will be submit the downtown water project to the state revolving fund for approval. This is one that we're thinking is going to be the 60/40. This is where it comes into play for the amount is going to be. Let's go back to our page. Downtown water lines. 97,307 is what we're going to ask for as far as the loan amount on that. So if you're okay with that, we'll go ahead and submit that one as well.
So moved.
Second, got a motion, Commissioner Lowry, have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ashbrook. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5-0.
And the last thing is, we need to award the bids to the two vendors for the Reed Avenue. This is going to be pages 6 and 7. Lanier Municipal for $134,127.57, and for Eric Spear $53,640. I would make those pending approval from SRF in the county on those two before you sign those two, Mayor. We're not
All right. Have a motion?
You want those individual motions or as a package?
I think you can do them both together. Just reference RFP 2018, 11, and 12. Award the bids pending approval from the county and from the state revolving fund.
All right, motion for RFP 2018-10 awarded to Eric Spear LLC and Lanier Municipal Supply in the amounts of $129,740 for Eric Spear, $134,127.57 for Lanier.
All right, we got a motion, Commissioner Ashbrook, we have a second?
Hold on, was that?
Yes.
11.
11 and 12, yes.
11 and 12.
Yeah. 10 is off the board.
Yeah.
So,
Which one?
no, 10 is Long Avenue. We're already
Yeah,
at
11 and 12.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a misprint. Rebid of RFP. I'll amend that to be RFP 2017-11.
All right, got a motion, Commissioner Ashbrook, we have a second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Brazil. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
That's all we have, Mayor. We have the letter there. If we can get your signature on that, we'll get Clay to work on the shore of our exhibit. We'll get that sent out today, and we'll get Mike LaCour to send off our documents to SRF to see about getting approval tomorrow for the funding for that.
Sounds good. All right, anything else? Anybody from the public wish to be heard? Any citizens wish to be heard today? All right, any motion to adjourn?
One more thing, Mayor.
Oh.
Just real quick. if we all can, when you get a chance, if you're planning on going to the conference, tickets right now, airline tickets are cheap, and I don't know if.
We're driving.
You're driving down? That's a long way.
I just leave early.
Gotcha. But yeah, Mike's got information on flights and all that stuff, so get with him.
I'll just sit and drive. Come on, be down there. Myself.
You got it.
All right, anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
All right, y'all, motion second. All right, we're adjourned.